The crux of this case, ladies and gentlemen, is whether at the time she fired her gun at that closed, locked, deadbolted door, did she reasonably believe that her conduct was necessary to prevent imminent death or great bodily harm against her?
It is virtually impossible to convey all of the ways Susan has devastated our lives.
The documentary film, The Perfect Neighbor, is essentially the #1 program in the U.S. on Netflix right now, and the Sundance Film Festival winner chronicles the case against Susan Lorincz, the woman who shot and killed her neighbor, and through body camera footage and interrogation tapes, we are seeing this picture. But what the film didn't take a deep dive into was the court case. So Law&Crime, we covered this trial gavel to gavel. We are going to take you through powerful attorney statements, critical witness testimony, and an emotional sentencing. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Netflix's latest true crime documentary, The Perfect Neighbor, is dedicated to what it calls Ajike AJ Owens' legacy, her 4 children. The 35-year-old woman was gunned down in her Marion County, Florida neighborhood on June 2nd, 2023 by her own neighbor. Then 58-year-old Susan Lorincz lived across the street from Owens and her kids, and the women had some tense exchanges about where many kids in the neighborhood were allowed to play. You see, next to the cluster of apartments where Lorincz had rented, there was this empty, grassy field. So naturally, the kids gravitated toward it, right? They played tag, they threw footballs, they generally acted like kids. But as you know, with rambunctious young kids comes a lot of noise, and apparently Lorincz didn't like that at all. So despite having no ownership of that open area, by the way, she was constantly scolding the kids for playing there and being loud. She also involved Marion County deputies multiple times, calling to report the kids that they were trespassing or being a public nuisance. And in the months before the tension between Lorincz and Owens came to a head, Lorincz called 911 to report that Owens had thrown a no trespassing sign at her.
I work at home, I do insurance, and the kids are screaming and yelling. And so it's very hard for me. And this is my apartment here. When they're all here in the front, it's really, we can hear it's loud, it's noisy, kids are out there. They're kids.
Yeah.
But when they come on the side here, I just can't hear my clients.
Okay.
That's not fair to me.
Yeah, I understand.
Right to have peaceful and quiet
Listen,
and
I understand.
I'm sorry, my heart's thumping.
No, you're fine, just breathe.
I just didn't know she was going to actually get physical with me.
With the other sign?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's not cool. You don't get physical. I mean, that's ridiculous.
She just threw it?
No, she whipped it at me. Okay. I mean, she hit me.
Deputies, they spoke with Owens as well, whose frustration with this whole situation was definitely palpable.
It's funny because I'm the one that never comes outside and says anything to her. But today, I just happen to feel led. First of all, before she moved there, this big open space right here, all the kids, they like to play kickball, football, in the space she moves in. I don't want y'all playing over here. This is private property, so they don't play there anymore. Okay, fine. I told my kids to leave. They're playing over there, y'all don't go. Okay? So we have a dog, and she's always taking pictures of the kids. Oh, I'm going to call the police and have you guys arrested. Always, she's badgering the kids. So I told the kids to go over there, stay away from there, don't, whatever. So we have a dog. My kids take the dog out. The other day, she tells my son, I'm going to have you arrested, and we're going to jail. He's 8, so he's terrified. He won't even walk the dog anymore.
So let her know all that.
Okay. So she's terrified. He won't even walk the dog anymore. So I had my 11-year-old take the dog out now. So he's walking the dog on this side. Now you live on this side, okay? You don't want him over here, fine, but this is joint area. You can't tell them they can't walk on this side. So he's walking the dog, and he's all the way back towards the fence. I'm standing here on my phone. She comes outside to go to the car or something. She sees him. Oh, I told you I'm going to have you arrested. I'm going to have you arrested today. She has her phone out like she's taking his picture or whatever. Now he's trying to run back across the street. So I said, I'm sorry, what are you saying to him? And so I go over there. This is my private property. They can't have the dog over here. I told her, first of all, he's not on your property. He's on this side. You don't own it. And even if he was on this side, you don't own this either. You're renting this just like I rent over here, just like they rent over there. You don't own this. You can't tell them, technically, if they're not in your personal space, that they can't walk the dog or even throw their football over here.
And Owens' neighbors backed her up.
This is just an open field. You know, it belongs to
both property. You know what I'm saying? So if the kids want to play there, whatever. And that's what I keep telling her. Hey, as long as you don't get in her door, you don't start throwing rocks, don't be cursing at her. It's okay. She can call the cops whenever she wants. But and I was trying to reason with her one day because we were all playing here. You know, the kids, everything jumping. All right, let's go. And she's like, hey, you know what? One day you guys are gonna die. And I'm like, and that's when I like, whoa.
As we're covering this kind of story, I will just say, even if you're not a journalist, staying on top of what is going on in the world is so important. But look, these days, with all the media bias, the mistrust, it can feel nearly impossible to know what to actually believe, right? But that is why I want to introduce you to our sponsor, Straight Arrow News, okay? So Straight Arrow News is a personalized news platform that empowers readers with unbiased, fact-based journalism, reporting that informs, educates, it actually builds trust from across the political spectrums. How does it work? Well, its media mist tool opens readers' eyes to reporting that's not seen in biased mainstream outlets. It provides useful commentary and analysis and source transparency along the way so that readers can see what's really happening versus what's just, sensational spin. Now, the difference between Straight Arrow News and other platforms is that their site and app shows the bias of their sources. Their media landscape tool groups and displays outlets according to their leanings to deliver maximum transparency. So if you're ready for a better way to get the news, go to san.com/sidebar, or just click the link in my description. It's Straight Arrow News. You skip the drama, you get the facts. Welcome back to trustworthy journalism. But unfortunately, these simmering tensions reached a boiling point just a few weeks later. Lorincz had confronted Owens' children before picking up a roller skate and throwing it at her then 10-year-old son, hitting his foot. And when this boy ran away, he apparently left behind a tablet, which Lorincz reportedly took. While Owens' kids went to tell their mom what had happened, Lorincz called 911, reporting to the dispatcher that the child had threatened to beat her up, that she was in fear for her life because they were still outside. Now, Owens, who was furious that Lorincz had not only yelled again at her children, but also threw something at one of them, she goes across the street, she starts banging on Lorinc's door, demanding she open it up and speak with her. Instead, what does Lorincz do? She fires a gun through the locked metal door, hitting Owens once in the chest. Owens collapsed, was still showing signs of life before she was rushed to the hospital, but the hope that she might survive, that was fleeting. And it led to this just absolutely heart-wrenching moment that was caught on body cameras.
It has been a very bad day. There's something bad that's happened. And y'all seen it, y'all understand it, y'all experienced it, right? Okay. Y'all love me? Okay. Y'all love Mom? All right. Well, I got some bad news to tell you. Mom is not coming back anymore. Come. No. Come here. Come over here. Listen to me. No, I know. Okay. It's okay. I know. Okay. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I am sorry. I'm so sorry.
You can't go home.
No, she's home. Okay. It's all right. You guys are going to be okay. It's all right. You guys are all right. It's okay. It's all right. Relax. You guys are. I know this ain't easy.
Now, here's the thing. While Lorincz was detained that night, she was released. Yeah, she wasn't formally arrested until several days later, something that caused uproar in the community. And during that time, she had multiple interviews with detectives where they tried to get her side of the story.
So what happened tonight that led to the conclusion that...
Well, I'm like, kids, go home. So they go home, and then all of a sudden she comes out, and she is just banging on my door. I'm like, go away. I'm not dealing with you tonight. And then she started banging so hard, everything started shaking. And I'm like, you really need to leave. And then she, I'm gonna kill you. And she's just banging away. And I'm like, oh, this is crazy. And ever since she has actually harmed me, I'm like, this just keeps getting worse and worse. I'm like, I don't know what to do with her. And she banged so hard, it looked like my door was gonna fly off. And I panicked. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's really gonna kill me this time, you know? And so I don't even actually remember picking up the gun. I just remember shooting.
You haven't really seemed remorseful for today, at least, for what had happened.
Oh God. It just makes me sick. I don't know I can't take it back. It's transpired. It's in the past. I don't know what the hell to do. It's just probably be shutting down again.
So what happens? Lorincz was arrested and charged with manslaughter with a firearm, culpable negligence, battery, and 2 counts of assault. Owens' family had actually wanted prosecutors to charge her with second-degree murder, but according to reporting from Us Weekly, the DA's office said there was insufficient evidence to prove murder here. Now, Lorincz, she went to trial in August of 2024. WCJB reports that the other charges were in fact dropped, so all you had is the manslaughter charge. And she appeared, by the way, very different, having apparently lost a significant amount of weight since her arrest. Lorinc's attorneys, they argued self-defense. This brought up a lot of conversations about stand your ground in Florida, right? The stand your ground laws, we know you don't have an obligation to retreat. You can stand your ground. You can use deadly force if necessary. Well, prosecutor Adam Smith said during his opening statement that firing a gun was an incredibly reckless and unnecessary thing to do here.
The defendant goes into her bedroom, grabs the loaded firearm, then walks all the way back out to the locked front door, and the police are on the way as she's been told. She points at the door, fires 1 shot at the center of the door, shooting and killing Miss Ajike.
But then you had the other side. You had defense attorney Morris Carranza, who argued that the commotion going on outside Lorinc's door wasn't minor, it was terrifying.
Susan is sitting there. She has her firearm. She's several feet away from the door. As AJ is pounding on that door, pounding over and over again for minutes, you'll hear testimony that there is a cement wall right next to the door. And it is moving. It is shaking. So much so that there is a mirror on that wall next to the door. And it's shaking as well. And you'll hear evidence. Susan's heart is pounding. Pounding. The kind of pounding that you feel that's so powerful, that's so treacherous, that you feel the heartbeat in your throat.
That banging on Lorinc's door is really the crux of this whole case, right? How intimidating was the knocking? What was Owens yelling as she was banging on the door? Well, one of the witnesses called was a boy named Uriel, one of the children who was in the neighborhood that day and saw what happened.
I remember her banging on the door.
All right. Mom banging on the door?
Yes.
How is she banging? Can you describe that?
She was banging in a mad type of bang. She was like banging like pretty hard.
Okay. Do you remember Mom saying anything while she was banging on the door? What do you remember her saying?
I remember her saying, open up this door.
Okay. Do you remember Mom cussing at all while she was at the door?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember what she was saying?
Yes.
Okay. What was she saying?
She was saying the B word, you know,
The B
and
word?
the F word.
Okay. Now, where was Mom banging on the door?
Kind of in the middle.
In the middle?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever see Mom reach for the door handle?
No.
Did you ever hear Mom say, "I'm going to kill you"?
No.
And that's critical, okay? Because witnesses had testified that they never heard Owens say she was going to kill Lorincz, which was one of the reasons that Lorincz had claimed she was so scared. During Uriel's cross-examination by the defense, they really emphasized that the confrontation was intense.
And then after that, you started banging on Miss Susan's regular door, right?
Yes.
And she was banging really hard, wasn't she?
Yeah, mad hard, yes.
I'm sorry?
Hard, yes.
And it was like bang, 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 hard, right?
Yes.
And she was doing it with her fist, right?
Yes.
And AJ was talking really loud as she was banging and banging and banging on that door, correct?
Yes.
Her tone was a loud one and a mad one, right?
Yes.
She was screaming, right?
Yes.
And where she was banging in the middle of the door, kind of like where the door handle is, right?
Objection or misrepresentation of the testimony.
Where was she?
Hold on one second. Overrule the objection. He can answer the question if he knows.
Okay. And she was banging in the middle of the door, kind of like where the door handle is, correct?
No.
She wasn't?
She was banging in, not the middle where the door handle was. Not like beside the door handle, just the middle.
Just the middle? Okay. But in that area, that's when she's banging with her fist, right?
Yes.
And I know you don't want to curse, so I'm going to mention some words, and then you let me know if these are the words that you said. I know you don't want to say it, and I understand. But we have to know exactly the words she was using. She was using the words right?
Yes.
And right?
Yes.
And she was saying things like this, right?
Yes.
And as I mentioned before, when that bullet flew through the door and struck Owens, it hit her in the chest. And according to body camera footage, she stumbled a few feet from Lorinc's door before collapsing. Witnesses tried to help staunch the bleeding and keep Owens conscious until paramedics could take over. But you had a forensic pathologist who testified about the absolutely catastrophic nature of Owens' injuries.
Can you describe to the jury the damage that the projectile caused as it entered her body and proceeded through it?
Sure. So the projectile entered the right side of the chest. It then hit the fourth rib, after which it went through her right lung. It went through the heart. It went through the esophagus. It also went through the aorta, after which it went through the diaphragm, the spleen, and it was recovered from the left lower abdomen area.
Now, as we know, everybody has the opportunity to testify in their own defense, right? It's their right. And while they can listen to attorney advice, the decision whether or not to take the stand is left up entirely to each individual defendant.
Ms. Lorincz, have you discussed with your attorneys the decision regarding whether or not you will testify or not?
Yes, I have.
Do you need any additional time to discuss that decision with them?
No.
Have they forced you to make a decision in any way?
No.
Have you made a decision on your own?
Yes, I have.
Can you tell us what that decision is?
I am not going to testify.
You've made that decision freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
Okay.
So both the state and the defense rested their cases, and then they delivered their closing arguments.
She was angry the kids were being noisy, and she admitted to throwing the roller skate like we saw in the photo a few minutes ago. She told the 911 operator that she was sick of the children. Her words were, "They are bothering me. They won't effing stop." She wasn't afraid. She was angry. You heard the tone of that 911 call. The 911 call operator asked, "Are you in danger?" She said, "No, I locked my door." She locked her metal door. We know from her 911 call, the main lock was engaged. We know from her interview with the detectives, the deadbolt was engaged. So at this time, she is behind a closed, locked, deadbolted metal door, standard metal door, about 1 3/4 inches thick. She's behind that in her concrete block home. Ms. Owens made it clear to the defendant that she wanted the defendant to come out and deal with this situation. If Ms. Owens wanted to get into that house, all she had to do was take something from the patio, that little Santa thing that was sitting there, throw it through the sliding glass door, shatter the door, and get in there. She didn't do any of that. Because her goal was not to get in the house. It was to get the defendant to come out and deal with the situation with her children. Even in the defendant's interview with the detectives, she was asked what was the first thing that came out of Ms. Owens' mouth. And the defendant said, Ms. Owens first said, "I want to speak to you because you're talking to my sons. I don't like the way you're talking to my sons."
If Susan Lorincz was in a dwelling in which she had a right to be, she had no duty to retreat. If you remember during the trial, Mr. Smith had asked some of the witnesses, did Susan shoot from way back there by her bedroom? Did she shoot from behind that countertop or behind that kitchen? It doesn't matter. Because she has no duty to retreat and she can stand her ground when she is in her dwelling if she is faced with imminent danger. Another important part of this is if she reasonably believed. We do not judge Susan Lorincz with what we in this courtroom have experienced in life. It's not what I would do, or Mr. Buxman or Mr. Smith would do in that circumstance. It's what Susan Lorincz reasonably believed was necessary to prevent. That's a very important word, prevent.
It only took about 2.5 hours for the jury to come back with a verdict.
Verdict as to count one. We, the jury, find as to count one of the charge. The defendant is guilty of manslaughter.
So what happens next? Well, ahead of her sentencing, Lorincz met with a licensed psychologist who testified at the sentencing hearing in November of 2024 that Lorincz had PTSD after suffering severe abuse and trauma during her childhood. And this psychologist was also asked about how Lorincz reacted to the enormous consequences of her actions.
Was she very remorseful in regard to Miss Owens and her passing away?
To me, she expressed, especially in the last 2 times that I saw her, that when she looks at this rationally, right, she said to me, I now realize that she was like a mama bear, taking care of her kids. And that's how I see her now. But that's not what I saw that day.
Owen's mother, who had been a powerful voice in the call for justice in this story, gave a heartbreaking statement on behalf of the family.
My name is Pamela Dias. I am the mother of Ajike Owens, who was shot and killed by Susan Lorincz. I stand before you with the burden of articulating and conveying the depth of our grief and the trauma that Susan Lorincz inflicted on our lives. And to also share the devastating impact that Susan caused when she fatally shot my daughter, Ajike Owens, on June 2nd of 2023. It is virtually impossible to convey all of the ways Susan has devastated our lives.
Now, Lorincz may have chosen not to testify in her own defense during the trial, but she certainly had a lot to say during sentencing, speaking for nearly 15 minutes.
This woman kept coming after me. I had approached her because I was watering my plants, and she's going, oh, there's a crazy old white lady. And I'm like, you can't just go around saying someone's crazy. I mean, it was insanity. So I went to say something to her, and she verbally attacked me again. She's like, you've been calling my kids racist names and stuff. I said, no, ma'am, I have not. And she kept getting angrier and angrier. The more I said no, the angrier she got. So finally I said, I was terrified. I mean, she went from a very relaxed position to a position here. I could see her neck veins starting to bulge. Her pulse is really getting, fast. And I'm thinking, she's going to beat the hell out of me right here in the street. So I said, listen, I'm sorry. If that's what you think I said, I'm very sorry. I don't mean to offend anybody. I didn't say it, but I'm sorry. I went to walk away, and she's following 1 foot behind me the whole time to my apartment till I slammed the door in the face. Again, never had anyone do anything that aberrant in my life.
Lorincz did finally get around to apologizing to the people whose lives she completely ripped apart. Well, maybe I should say sort of apologized.
I would like to make a statement to AJ's mom, children, and friends. It is with heavy heart and great remorse I write this letter to you. First and foremost, I am so sorry that I took AJ's life. I never intended to kill her. The night I shot that gun, I was confused as to why she was screaming and pounding on my door. I had an idea that told her I had hit him. I could not understand why she was so angry. And she truly scared me. Now that I know he told her I hit him, I am just profoundly sad. Not only did a mother die, but a daughter and a sister. I think of your family's loss and know how hard it is to lose someone you love. Not being able to see that person look at that person or just talk to that person is such an empty feeling. I so wish I could go back and change things so that she was still here. I would trade my life so that she could be here, if it were possible. I know that you have all suffered from her loss, and I have prayed for you and your family during this time so that you can, that God could help you. Nothing I can do will change the outcome. I can only tell you I have cried and I feel horrible for my actions. Please accept my humble and sincere apology for this tragedy.
Judge Robert Hodges didn't hold back as he considered what the punishment for Susan Lorincz should be, what she deserved for killing Owens.
When I look at the nature of the offense, I find that the shooting was completely unnecessary in this case. Miss Lorincz was behind the door was locked. She had already called law enforcement. They were en route. She knew they were en route. She was in a relatively safe position. For some reason, she went into her room and found a gun. She could have stayed in the room and put another locked door between her and Miss Owens, but she came back out, put herself in front of the door, and at the time she fired the gun through the door, she was safe. Miss Owens was simply, although she was clearly banging loudly and was probably very angry over the whole situation, it appears to be she was mostly demanding that Miss Lorincz come outside, which would indicate she had no indication of coming inside the house. So when Miss Lorincz fired the gun through the door, she did so knowing a person was directly on the other side of the door. So what I'm going to do in this case is she being adjudicated guilty of manslaughter with a firearm in order to serve 25 years in the Department of Corrections. With credit for 538 days. It's $100 cost of prosecution, $100 fine, court cost. Good luck to you, ma'am. You have 30 days to appeal.
Susan Lorincz is serving her sentence at the Homestead Correctional Institution in Homestead, Florida. She did a prison interview, by the way, with WCJB in September of this year, completely stuck to her story. That includes the allegation that the boys told her they were going to beat her up, that Owens had said she was going to kill her. And by the way, as I mentioned, these are statements that witnesses said they did not hear. According to the Florida Department of Corrections website, Susan Lorinc's release date is set for April 8th, 2048. And that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you should get your podcasts. You can follow me on X or Instagram. I'm Jesse Weber. I'll speak to you next time.